LPL this week. So this is actually from the 25th of January. It's going to be on, well, by the fact that Mel is banned, I guess it is still the same patch as the one that we were reviewing yesterday. So that's not the live patch, especially if you're watching this as a VOD. It's 1.2 at the most, but I was expecting it to be 1.1, to be honest. From a pro point of view, not very much changed in between there. So we'll just get started. As always, let me know if you have any questions as we go. If you want me to explain anything in more detail, haven't seen this game before. So it's just going to be how I would watch it, how I would review it for myself. Now, the meta has shifted, especially in places like LEC. Let me just get the last two picks out. Zyra here being picked already, but being picked on the 2-3 is less likely than it is now. And this is where we first started seeing Zyra like rising in priority, these fast clearing junglers. But as is quite often the case at the moment, LPL, slightly different meta and often a little bit ahead of the meta. So it is the first pick Cassante that we see quite a lot. Ashe, Varus both gone, with Corki, Kalista gone as well. So loads of AD carries gone. At this stage, everyone was just basically trading these two. And so banning one and taking the other is really big. Is there an easy way to watch these VODs as a pleb? Yeah. This is just LPL English is the channel. You have to go on their like live section. You can't just watch it on videos. That took me far too long to work out. But it's LCK Global or LPL English, the official YouTube channel names. So I thought the same. The way that YouTube VODs work, and that's why I sometimes release my streams as videos as well, is that you have to go on there. Like, I'll just show you. I don't know why I'm talking about it. So on their channel, you don't get it, but on live, you do. So you can go to live and then you get all the VODs. I realized I was explaining it, but not showing you it. So this one. Same for LCK Global as well. Took me so long to realize that as well. Right. So, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Would you say BLG are a worse team without Jun, especially considering their struggles last year was? I find it really hard to tell. I think that having the two seem to work out well for them, considering the like swaps. I haven't seen enough of their games now to say that they're worse. I think they're definitely less flexible. Don't worry about interrupting, by the way. Like, the whole point for me is it's fun to do it with you guys. So jump in if you have any questions, practical ones, or ones about the game as well. Because often I'll just be silent and I'll be thinking things, and if you can prompt me, I might be able to explain stuff. Or, as I've always said, I can try and explain it to whatever level you guys are and want to talk about it. See if I can find ways to make it useful for your own games. But in solo queue, these kind of games are not going to have that much translation. So I don't know if they're worse. We'll see coming into the season. I mean, I think, I don't know. I think having Wei and Jun was always a benefit. I actually think having multiple junglers is a really good idea, but that's a whole separate issue, and it's probably not actually financially viable. It's just fun thing to think about for performance. So Cassante first pick, like we said, double. Okay. I'm having some tech problems. Hopefully it all comes back. Where the last thing that I'm using, like to have my camera behind and have the chat on, it keeps like disconnecting sometimes. So it will just go back black and then come back out. It should be fine, but a bit annoying. So 1-2 with the double AD flex solo lanes and Zyra coming through here. Now, nowadays, you will probably not see this. You might, but you would definitely deny the Zyra at this stage, I think. But this, like I say, is from the 25th, so a little while ago. Rel MF, just big combo. Obviously, Teamfight's big in the LPL, so they have slightly higher value. I personally think MF is not a particularly good pick for pro play. I think whenever it does well, it's less common than the times when it doesn't. Even though you have the Zyra, nowadays you are much less punished by having two APs, especially because you could go the weird stacking pen item. I'm not sure they will, because Zyra is a bit much more like a carry. But I think it's definitely something that should be explored. Like if Zyra's not that fed, if she's going to go the Bloodletter's Curse thing, I think it actually is quite nice and allows the Ziggs, after those plants poke, the Ziggs poke just does 30% increased damage, plus your own pen as well. I think that's quite a nice combo. So last pick, Nautilus. Safe bot lane that can allow Nautilus to roam. Early pressure from this bot lane. Aurora really late on as well. So it was just 2 picks that are... See, this is the thing. Like, they would be good into Vi, into Zyra, Nocturne especially, because you can just jump on her. But actually, since this time, we're starting to see Zyra used as a counter pick to Vi. So Vi jumps in, but just if people are jumping on Zyra, it's always really, really hard. So having extra CC to jump on her rather than just like one ult is good. Viego loves having setup, so having setup in both. You don't have much setup in mid now because the ult's changed, but both side lanes is really useful. Zyra will clear faster because Zyra clears faster than everybody, and she's crazy. So, all right, get into the actual game. I'm just going to do... oh, God. Okay, this is so LPL, by the way. I literally just skipped forward a little bit too much, and suddenly it's like 3-1. I'm not going to do the whole game, I think. I'm going to do just until... just a couple of hours until 1, so that I can have a bit of a break in between scrims, because I'm trying that out at the moment. Doing this stream all day for me is way too much. I can't do what Freddie does and just stream for like 8 hours in a row. And by the time I'm getting to game 4 and 5, when normally as a coach I want to be the most clear because the players will start to lag a bit, I'm also getting really tired. So I'm trying it today with a break. I don't feel the Aurora in this draft for mid, where someone like Azir is better for team fights. Yeah, Zera is better for team fights. Aurora has more catch and burst potential, like to jump on people. So you can follow up with the Rel. Don't have that. You don't have any CC as well, like where the Azir ult would keep people in the MF ult too. So I think you're right. I like the Azir here too. What was it? Into Jace? Maybe it's just a better matchup into Jace, or maybe Knight just prefers it. I think there's not... They both can work, but yeah, not having setup for the Viego and also for the MF. Okay, it's a big... So it's lane swap. Okay, I don't know how loud to make this because I haven't listened to that casting before. So again, the swap coming out from the side. Let's look at actually what they did, because I did miss that. I think they went in and did those 3 deep wards, right? They became quite standard. Whichever team is stronger level 1 can force in and get these wards, and as a return you get wards of your own, but the return on the return is they already warded this to see where you warded. So this is something we need to get better at. So here BLG put this ward and then invade together so that they can spot where the enemy is warded, which means they can choose. They either go now and sweep it to just get some gold and a tiny bit of XP. Aha, that's nice. Okay. So there's like so many mind games going in already. So BLG, I think they want to get this matchup early on. They can pressure Ziggs really like a lot early. So they've put the wards down, and at this stage, so far, especially when the enemy team is trying to leverage a snowball or leverage momentum, whether regardless, they're the ones that... So he wants to already be in the lane. They put the wards in river. They've already put a ward on their own raptors to see enemy Jace warding. This is a really big one so that you know what vision has been traded. Now, when this bot lane comes here, they clear the ward. They're going to run towards top side and then turn back. So you see that little movement there? They run up this way and then they turn around. That's because when you clear a normal ward with Sweeper, there's a little bit of excess vision that stays around. So definitely something to remember. You can juke people out with this, clearing the vision, running one way, and then instantly running the other way. So that one actually is really useful with solo queue. If you're trying to gank someone, and there's a ward here, for example, you come this way as the jungler, sweep it, clear it, run backwards, instantly turn around. It works a surprising amount of time. But this way, they are going to get to bot lane. They did see Nautilus come. But as we've seen a lot, you commit to these swaps later. On the LCK podcast, they were talking about Fearless BF5 draft strategy to tank the first game by giving over an OP champion like Skarner and denying a bunch of strong picks from a player on the enemy team, like Silas, Akali, Azir from Zeka to punish smaller champion pools. What are your thoughts on that? It's interesting. If you have that clip, by the way, you can send it to me. I'd love to have a look at it and I can properly record my thoughts on it based on exactly what they're saying. I'm not sure. So you would just fully tank the first game, take like Silas Akali 1-2 or something, and give them Skarner? Is this the idea? Like to fully tank it, or you try and play a specific strat into Skarner? I mean, it's a nice idea in theory. I think in practice, tanking games in a best of 5 is something that you have to be like so careful with. And this idea that you could have a team that would be like comfortable just sort of tanking a game, because each game is really snowball based, and you can lose. You then play your second game where you think you've got a massive advantage now because you tanked the first game, and what if you just fuck up something level 1? So yeah, you get like the momentum from game 1, and you get exactly. Winning game 1 can also give you the momentum. Yeah, I think if someone has a really small and punishable champion pool, sure, but couldn't you just, like, if you've got a small champion pool and the games go to like 4 and 5, you're going to be starting to get punished on that small champion pool anyway? Because remember, you can just triple ban. I think what you might see as a bigger change is that, let's say you do have a strat into Skarner, in game 4 or game 5, you just full ban Zeka and you play into Skarner. Because by that point, when he's lost 4 champs already, and then you just deny another 3, then they have to really choose between Skarner or Zeka's potentially like 8th best if you then take his 7th. No, sorry, it'd be his 9th best. His 9th best, because you're then taking his 8th, because 7 are gone, because 4 from the games and 3 from the bans. So for me, I would rather do it that way round, because then you know you're in game 5 anyway. And I think being these like cheesy drafts in game 5 are going to be much better. And so suddenly you can say, right, if we just triple ban AD here and leave a power pick and 1 last AD carry, can we play into the Skarner, for example? Because even if you tank game 1, you have to like fully tank it, I think, and start to take like 2 of his picks as well. You can't tank it by just like giving them Skarner and taking 1 of his picks away. And if you're banning picks early on, then they're not taking them. So I'd rather see it later on in a best of 5 personally. I think if we get to game 5, dropping a Skarner ban and just super pinching someone might be quite an interesting idea. So we'll see. The other thing is that other than the Skarner, if there are bans that are the same ban throughout the series, it'll be really interesting, because suddenly like those picks are the ones that you can be messing about with and trading later on. Good morning. All right, let's go through. Sorry, when people have a strange name, I never know what to say. So I never know like if I should just try and read out your name like at my all this. Especially as I have it too small, I need to work out a way to have it bigger. So, sorry, let's get into this game. So they punished the swap. He was trying to be really greedy to get some CS. Probably might even be worth it. He got some XP, but now we're going to have a 3v3 around mid. So that 6 is really big from mid lane already. Like, he's not 6, they win that, and also the extra man is coming, so that's going to give them the grubs, despite the fact that they got a lane swap. So this is like against the run of play, it was always really good. If you're in if you're in a situation where you put multiple members top and then they still manage to get the grubs, then you're going to be losing like on both sides of the map. And not just me having the problem. Good. Morning, another otter. There you go. Like that one, at least I can like just read out. Like that's a bit more simple, but maybe I'm old, but everyone should just have their real name on Twitch. That would be horrible. Don't actually do that, but it would be fun. Oof. And now it's just, I mean, Bin is like always going to take those opportunities. And because like Nautilus has roamed a few times, he's got equal CS in the lane swap to the person that he's playing against. Because this is what they do in the LPL with the swaps. They focus less on the they focus less on like denying CS and stuff like this, and more on, because with lane swap we can all run around and move. Because if one team focuses on the CS and the other team is snap enough on the engages, then you pick up like kills and stuff. And of course LPL teams will be. Oh. Not sure if there's a way that this could have been. Oof. Not sure there's a way that he could have led that up. What happened to the MF icon? What do you mean? Yeah, true. Real names actually might be worse, because then it'd be more insulting if I can't say it right. True. Can we all have like classic English names and also use our real name? Looks different, updated. Yeah, it was updated a while ago. You mean on here on the side? Yeah, it does look a bit different. I don't know if it's different in China or I'm just blind. Yeah, it's like... Okay, I keep getting distracted from the game. So there's good vision down for the side of BLG. They see where the enemy ward is, and then they play like on the other side of yeah. It's also inverted from, it's verted in slightly different colors from even the icon in the game. Yeah. Do they do that on either side? Does it like invert and always look towards the middle? Because everyone's looking towards the middle of the map. Interesting. That'd be cool if they did that. Like just tiny little things that just... I mean, it'd be weird because it looks wrong for everyone watching now. So yeah, they just play... They're just messing around with the vision. And Knight, again, messing around with the vision. I mean... These players, they're just so good. Like, and you can see it a lot more. Like with the LCK, when it's so slower, you can't see how good they are a lot of the time. And then you get like that Genji game that we looked at yesterday, where they make a really bad team play, and then you're suddenly like, are these teams that good? And then of course they are, but in the LPL it's always much more obvious. And now like the whole game is already, I mean, I think the game is already done. It's the best of 5, so we can move on to the later stages of the game. It's always towards the middle of the screen. That is cool. I like that. I didn't know that. Let's just skip forward to make sure that this is just a one, like, easy. They snowball lead so well, BLG. So they've got these 6 scrubs, which means they're just already starting to like clear their towers, even though you're playing against Ziggs. They're going to push up bot lane, reset on MF. MF's going to run top. They're going to kill the top tower probably. They can basically just overload people on either side of the map and take more. Aurora looks extra comfy that way. So I don't instantly see the Aurora one as wrong, but that's because I just haven't seen her enough, I guess. Yeah, so on the scoreboard, they're all facing away from each other. But on the thing, they're all facing towards each other. That's cool. I love these little like effects. Like, there's no reason to do that, but like it's just someone taking pride in their job, thinking like it would be nice. It's perfect. I think well-deserved, given that no team in the world played more games than BLG this past year. Yeah. And then like already, I mean, this is their second best of 5 that we've seen them. Game 1, not to read too much into it, but BLG look like their old selves. I mean, we even see On, making a few mistakes too. We're seeing that with BLG. For better or worse, On goes in for big plays. So yeah, I mean, this team is so good. It's so fun they stuck together. And oh boy, hi Xiao. Could be in trouble. Yeah. Good flash. Immediately not giving him an angle. However, Ben is going to commit his own flash over the wall, and they're not going to even need to use the all-out. Hi Xiao's just got nowhere else to run. On was distracting the rest of LNG on the bottom flank, and he's On is just like Chinese Silesang. And he just buys so much time and space all the time. Yeah, so they pick up any of the fights because they're so far ahead. They crash top and then do that. They're going to get Herald. They're going to use that to break mid. They're actually going to not even need Herald to break mid. So now they still have Herald. They don't care about dragons so much because they're just playing gold. So now they'll play the fight. But oh, they should already have a dragon as well. It's just, ooh. Okay, so the TP is all the way to bot lane, so it's a bit too far away. And Ambessa can zone the Aurora on the side. And now On's just got hit by slightly too many things. Zika, like, I think, played that about as well as he could. Like, obviously, if he gets away, it's even better. But the thing with Viego is you take the Ambessa, you use all your jumps, and then you still have another jump.
LNG stepped off that dragon to try and help Zeka, and that was just not the right call.
Yeah.
They stopped the dragon, and BLG with the wall is going to come in and make sure that they secure that one for themselves. So we'll say that spend a ton of time talking about win cons here. We did mention that without the marksman for LNG, they're on a bit of a timer. But the good scenarios for LNG and why it's so harmful they're behind like this is they want to be able to take space, step up on the map, because if they're holding chokes with Zig, Zyra, Jace, you do feel really good. And I mean, honestly, well played by Zika here to at least try to pressure guy, like try and use vision, but sends up on the wrong side. Yeah, I mean, LNG, it's not anyone's really contesting the dragon.
So this also gets them the on kill, right? The part you don't see is that this gets them the kill on the other side.
It's not like you needed more damage to deal with your LNG, but Drake can help BLG out even more.
I mean, they're behind the curve, which just makes things actually properly.
Just going to keep skipping forward. Like they just take way more every time. They just push through one lane, group up on the other lane. So difficult for enemy to do anything. They still have Herald as well. One person gets seen, but they're just so deep to fight all the time. Really nice for Zyra, but it's not going to matter, right? Yeah. Now it's going to be Atakan. While they still have Herald, maybe. Lucas was making the point that if you have both, it's really insane because you can just go for any dives.
Yeah, I think that engage did open up things onto Elk in the back half. Worth noting, I mean, a lot burned there by LNG. That TP burned by Zika trying to make a play in the back line, trying to get anything done on this investment. Hasn't quite started out throughout this game. As we have the Herald dropped, Icon started.
They're going to take Atakan. I mean, they're 8k up.
He's trying to find some vision through that tri-bush corridor. However, On was waiting.
On is permanently waiting on the sides, but as he's engaging, someone else is engaging as well, and Knight also jukes the Ambessa. Like, it's just... And this is also because they're the same team still, right? Like they look like they've been playing together for a long time at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I felt like hitting I've seen a lot of games completely susceptible.
If there were any doubts before,
of course, they had killed
part the support, and LNG frontline is now turned.
Yeah, they just kill them all.
Early game.
I mean, the fact that it's got to 30 minutes is good. Good for LNG. Ooh. That's really good. You get the stacks, you get the shutdown. You get to wait. It's full tank Jace because this is where we thought full tank Jace was better than the Bruiser Jace. Whereas I think now you'd go Bruiser Jace probably in this game.
The fate of this game, either way, as the second inhibitor turret and inhibitor 2 fall. BLG continue to push. Knight spawns in 20, and as you called out earlier, Rafa does have that power TP. Doesn't protect minions anymore. Those minions will still take damage. A little bit harder to end the game. Can't use the TP to protect wave anymore.
There's a couple ultimates still available for LNG to use, but it's all in Jewel to find the CC to layer it on top. They take out one Nexus turret. To be fair for LNG, if they manage to solve this base defense, those Nexus towers will respawn, but they're taking a lot of damage. Both Zika and Knight are back up on the map. He has teleported and joined his comrades here in the field. Elk down high chow. But it looks like Zika is trying to deal with...
Elk just does so much damage.
Endure the pressure from Elk's misfortune. Jewel gets knocked up once again, and there's the final window that BLG needed to put the wrapping touches on this game.
Okay, right. First game done. So now we'll go into the second draft, see what changes, see if... Oh no, there's not a list of all... Okay, right. It's down here, champions chosen. That's tiny little thing. But Casante's gone, so Rumble, we already talked about that. This probably could be a counter to Rumble as well. So it is going to be Corki mid and Rumble top. That Galio top to play into the Rumble. And you don't need an AP jungler. Like here, you can be flexible already because you know you're going to take an AP top lane. You can have a lot of poke here, but I think you probably want to go for all on hit Varus because they're going to all be able to dive on you. And ooh, I quite like this if you can play it. Ooh, okay. So it's at least gives you more AP threat as well. Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was never. It was never going to be close, even if it got to 30 minutes. But they just didn't lose in 25. So even though Elise doesn't do like a load of magic damage, the point is that if you stack armor, not only do you have the Galio who can be an issue, you also have CC and damage from Elise. So there's two things to kind of worry about when you're building a comp in terms of like armor and MR. There's the late game stuff, of course, if you're full AD and enemies start stacking armor, but there's also like the boots thing. So even like, okay, Sejuani doesn't do a huge amount of magic damage, but if you've got double AP solo lanes and Sejuani, Merc Shred starts to become like super, super strong. And Elise also makes people really want to think that they should buy Merc Shreds, and you've got CC here, but then it's like, so it's still a very heavy AD comp if you're all just like hitting target dummies, but in the way it plays, it's probably enough. This side, of course, you have the Rumble. Yone does a decent amount of magic damage as well. Just from the passive, it's like 30%, 40%, I can't remember. It depends a little bit based on patch. You can look it up yourself if you go on to Game of Legends. I think you can see with the premium version, you can see if what percentage, or probably u.gg just anyway, what percentage of it is magic damage. Then just already these three with a dive comp. So your choice is either you take something that can dive as well, like the Kai'Sa, or you take something that can stay safe and just play by the back. I am not a big fan of the blind Braum. It's really good into champs like Xin, but I don't think it's particular. Like, I'd rather take like Alistar or something here. If you want to have like this combination, you can be much more easy to go forward on something like Alistar. Of course, you do have like auto attackers. The Ezreal is very good with the Braum early on, with the Q stacking the passive as well, but it is going to be the support Elise, which we'll see. Bans are kind of this Leona ban. Like now we've dropped to different things. We've taken like a different approach. Now there's a bunch more ADs up, even though LNG is still banning 2 ADs. It's like the first game we banned all the ADs and we played with the stuff like the Cassante and the Ziggs was in the first game, which is normally something you'd want to, not want to, but expect to see a bit later on. But here it was kind of the other way around. Yeah, it can be. Braum can be strong into Corki Varus because of the shield. Do you still do the Emax? I think probably not, right? I know they wanted to nerf it. They were talking about making that less viable. But still, generally, Braum is good as like counter engage when enemies going on you, or like disengage. Oh, that is cool. Or like disengage, and if it's going to be like poke Varus and stuff, you don't have more engage with the Braum. So you're just relying on the Vi ult basically, because Yone ult should almost always be used as a secondary engage unless you get some mega flank, because if you miss it and they flash it or they dash it or whatever, then it's really bad. So it's much better to use that as secondary engage. Like, this can't be Leona, of course, because it was banned, but I think even something else with a bit more go forward would be better. But you can block like one Q, right? And then the next Q, your shield won't be out for with the Varus.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, no, Ben! He might have to flash.
They had to get that lower third out of the way. Ben,
It might be too late. Okay, he flashes to the safety of his teammates, waits for them. Cocoon does hit on the photo.
Cocoon level 1. So like we talked about, Elise in the swaps. I think a lot of people at the beginning thought Elise was like the lane champ. But I think until you hit level 3, you're not actually that good. Because like, okay, you've got a stun, but you've got nothing else. Braum's got a stun in his passive. They can pick Leona as well. No, Leona was banned. I think Leona would be the best pick if you could, but Leona was banned. It was banned first phase by BLG. So it wasn't picked all banned, I think, last game, and this game was banned first phase. So I think you're already like, if you're being like, you're coming in with a specific idea, which is really interesting to see. So again, it's going to be the they come top to try and pick off the top laner, and they do get Bin's flash, but I don't think either team. Well, I don't think LNG especially really want the lane swap. Ezreal, Braum early on, like I say, probably much stronger, but after level 3. But they do get the invade, because you're basically trading this thing here for the invade, because enemy can set up this way. And they're going to actually do a full map split with 3 wards down. So you're going to see Vi coming in to split the map, and you can just play Galio super weak side. And now, like, once you get level 2 and 3, maybe now Elise is really strong. But the Varus, I guess, actually is also strong early with the comment. So they crashed 2 waves, which means the dive could be a little awkward.
They did try and stall out this dive as long as possible. Doesn't look like that it should be that successful.
You can just stack up the...
Takes up the turret, aggro flashes away, and then at the possible second, he dodges the turret aggro with the repel. Elk is also
Oh, this is... Oh!
need one more wave, doesn't have flash anymore, but he
Okay.
lights up the wind, becomes lightning.
So this is the thing. Like, Xin is so strong in the early dives, and Elise is strong in the early dives as well. And being strong in the dives means you're okay in the swap. So that's why I think Elise also can be really strong, because it's hard to play against either side of it. Now, I guess the Varus seems to be strong enough level 1 where they aren't too weak, because they do manage to get control of the lane. And if you get control of the lane and your jungler's been pushed away, this dive is just like, okay, I hope we can outplay it kind of thing. Because with Vi has been forced top based on the level 1. The other thing that's actually... So he stacks up his Q on the tower, so he's going to instantly Q and knock someone up. One thing that I think is a little silly is that they should just wait out the Braum. Like, the Braum stun actually comes in too early. They should leave him on 4 stacks, I think, because after the stun wears off, Wei could then go and tank, and you'd never be able to stun him. But On can always tank and drop that tower aggro. And like I say, always, it's not just dropping the aggro, it's absorbing one of the shots and dropping the aggro. So you get an extra shot, and each shot matters a lot in these early dives.
So he's going to lose a lot of CS next. Meanwhile, no flash for Ben. Going to try and get around this one, but I think he's going to be going down here.
Q-flash? No, he doesn't even need the flash. He's in range. It's a nice trade kill for LNG to get one back, and Punish has been pushed up on that wave trying to get the crash, but holds him in place.
So they stop the base, which is good.
I mean, it is advantage BLG still from that series of plays, but at least we're able to see did TP back, be able to sort of back that wave. Meanwhile, you can see CS numbers that way for the
But
wayside. He lost at CS next peak.
Bin didn't lose any... he's punished for not having flash, but he didn't lose any minions, whereas Photic loses a bunch of minions. So it's higher CS and a freeze. That's always a bad sign. If Elk can hold this freeze, I don't know how much. Like, see, he's tanking the wave. You see his health going down. But if he holds this freeze, it's so difficult, especially with repeat invade. So they managed to invade and hold the freeze. You're like doing 2 things at once, but it's because of the way the game is, and this is like a really big deal. So now they take away the second camp, and also this freeze is still like a horror. Ezreal has no idea what to do. He's just run around for 30 seconds. And he comes back to take the cannon, but he's in a nightmare situation. And now Vi just has to give up camps and give up playing for the respawn on the other side to help bot lane. Like, she's just legging it bot lane, even though there's just golems. So we'll see if they take golems or just go straight for the try and break the freeze. Okay, so they can play up aggressive like this because Vi is like coming towards the bot side of the map, and now the freeze is broken. But this is what that converted to, you know. So after the crash, it was like, oh wait, we actually didn't lose that much CS, but it's because you pushed that next wave, and then you can't play on the freeze because Braum wasn't there, and then So now this is what's converted from the early game. And this is where you sometimes see people who talk about the game saying like, okay, this is already really big, and you look at the gold and it's like, it's not big, it's equal. But in the future, it will play out because it's unavoidable. Like, you can't, I think, fight for that freeze as LNG. You can't stop them just getting it, and so you're going to lose a bunch of CS.
Yeah, usually you can.
I mean, Wei is just smurfing this early game.
That Xin Zhao packs in his kit. Zika just not able to clear enough space to escape that one. Really well played by the top side of BLG. And that kill, no TP on the Rumble, so these grubs just going to go down. No ability for LNG to contest, and love the way that BLG played that one out with it. Do a really, really well done on the top side.
And at least for LNG, Wei is going to trade the first dragon of the game for the first rotation of grubs. On will face check it with the volatile Spiderling, but not going to really get a chance to challenge it. But this is the thing that has made Wei...
They do get to trade it, but I think with the way BLG were playing last time, like, yeah, the grubs are really, really strong. Grubs just got nerfed, but... Well, this is a risky one. Like, as soon as enemy has 6, it's always a bit of a question. And you can get there for sure, because it's flash first, no flash. But you now lose flash. And the wave is in a decent spot, so Galio can stay and push it because he doesn't have TP, and Wei was there, like Wei based in fog.
That said, I think the real strength of Wei comes with his ability to play around his layers, and so far, I mean, this has been a really nice game where he's been able to play the map. I think that's what made them feel like it was the right cut choice in the end, and I like seeing Wei's ability to do that on this map, and a nice start for him here.
I think that was just a big overstay. Like, they thought they could kill him, but they can't.
Not a completely disastrous deficit for LNG. It's only 1,000 goals down. A lot of that advantage is scattered evenly throughout the majority of BLG.
I mean, at least still just it takes, I guess, poked so much. But they're forcing... They have the pink in try, and they want to try and force this 3v3. If there is 6 advantage, right, as well. Like, if Ezreal was 6, like, Elise would already have to be using cooldowns to live.
scattered evenly throughout the majority of BLG's members, but a chain of corruptions immediately forces Photic's own cleanse on repeat.
Wait, how did Chain of Corruption still hits Braum, by the way? That's really, really strong.
Deficit for LNG. It's only 1,000 gold down. A lot of that advantage is scattered evenly throughout the
So he hits Ezreal there, but because, oh no, because Braum flashes for E's to, no, W's to jump to the Ezreal,
own cleanse on repeat. On with the
he flashes but still gets hit by the ult. Because that actually doesn't work if Braum doesn't get hit by the ult. We just trade ult for cleanse. If he breaks this chain first and then jumps, then it's really good. Like they just get away and they use Varus ult for cleanse and they both get out. But instead he W's in, thinks he can flash out of range of the Varus thing, but the spread hits him. That's a nightmare.
Photic and Drow have been playing together for a while. They did not play that one very well. It was a nice chain of corruption from Elf to catch Photic, but the cleanse was a little bit late, and then they both managed to follow and flash back, which ended up meaning that the chains of corruption still connected on the Joel, just the way they played that one out. So not great in terms of escaping that one. And ended up costing them in the end is Han.
Should be fine. Repel still ready and available, but does delay his chance to base and get back on the map.
They're delaying the base, so they crash this wave in. Grubs in 130.
Potentially thinking about covering mid and letting Knight have a chance to base, but Knight is gonna.
And now we get the base coming in for Photic.
I'm curious to see where BLG decides to take their efforts again. I imagine just cleaning up that second rotation of grubs for themselves.
So, minute for the next grubs. So Elise opens through mid. Varus teleports top lane. So he's going to teleport top and play on this next wave, but they do it out of vision. So Rumble bases, and suddenly Varus is there to push. Like this. And now Ezreal is in mid, but he's levels down on Corki, so he should lose push. And now you've got push on both side lanes from this swap. So this is, again, like, this is really nice. So what happens here from the side of LNG? They push mid, or try to push mid with the Braum. And then Yone goes bot lane, because he's going to have TP up, I guess. But this swap from Varus, like, hidden swap, is really nice. This is a really cool swap with teleport. We don't run teleport that much, but if we did, we should look into this. So you get a plate, and you're going to get the next set of grubs, I guess. So Xin contests the river through top lane, and he can go quite deep, because they're just going to have push. So he clears this, they get two plates, and all three grubs.
Just base and got a chance to complete this under Sky, but for the past 45 seconds, Wei was the only person with a first item completion on this Xin Zhao, and it pretty much allowed him to walk around as he pleased and imposing vision control and his own free will, ensuring that BLG had no contest whatsoever.
And they're really strong anyway, but they still get the pushes in the right lanes.
They have options here to say, do we want to force this dive top, or do we just want to get the crash in and get bases off and start setting up towards the bottom side of the map?
Hold on, Wei.
Well, he has a flash, but the pressing guard is
This is where the Braum is really strong into Xin specifically.
The second dragon of the game, I imagine that they have options.
Yeah. I mean, Varus gets... They swap there is really good for Varus. Bin will probably lose a little bit for it, but not much. But Varus gets like extra waves and like 3 plates. You're right, he's so fed and he's just farming. He's a K up just from farming. Just from like the crash, then the freeze, then the first swap. Like all of these plays give him like more of a lead. That's more than 3 kills, right? In lead. Obviously, it goes back and forward when it's CS. And now they're going to swap, and they're actually in time for the dragon somehow? Because... How are they in time for this dragon? I think... You've got the Rumble with the Rumble ult, so that's a good thing for your fighting. You don't push as quickly, obviously. Doesn't realize Vi is there, I think. But can't you now just push through mid and fight this dragon? Okay, they do. But they just don't, they just can't. So Knight plays really aggressively on this wave to slow them down as much as possible because his bot lane's coming. And also he chunks them out. So like, because it, like 1v2 Knight just, so Knight's getting this dragon, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So here he knows he just wants to stall them as much as possible. So he's just like being really aggressive on the wave. He plays just on the edge, so he doesn't actually get stunned. And then actually, because Photic gets left, because Braum already wants to run and help the dragon, because it's already starting to feel nervous, where he instantly goes to force the Yone ult, and it's just a horror.
to think of a pun about way. It's not coming to me, Rafi. You got anything?
When there's a will, there's a way. I mean, I think that's the simplest one I can come up with.
Yeah,
you know?
unfortunately, the will way pushed way out of the pit, too. That's a bummer.
I'm not gonna lie,
And now they've got 6 scrubs,
Yeah,
and they take 4 plates. No, they don't. They take a full tower.
There we go. Nice piercing arrow.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize this this game would be this one-sided. I hope games 3 and 4 can be more. Nice. There you go. Zika back to Gary top.
Here we go. Maybe a little bit of momentum that LNG are desperately needing in the second game of the series.
I mean, Zika's Rumble at Worlds, it was fantastic. Good to see him with that B1 busted out here and have some success, even despite the counter pick that was really popularized at Worlds. Looks like he's not thrilled about the tank duty this game. And Zika making
Also interesting to see feats finished before first tower. Yeah, this was.
okay, so the mistake here
I mean, it's more likely in LPL to have the like 3 kills as well.
If you just throw out the taunt after it expires, then you get to keep on firing away with the overheat. So I think that first trade, even despite being down level, Zika was able to get a ton of damage down early on. Really impacting now on. You want to use the Justice Punch? Synced up with the
Again, super long replay, so I don't know how we're in the situation that we're in. They went to top lane. They want to take the top lane tower with the grubs,
able to get a ton of damage down early on. Really impacting now
but
on.
they just insta go on the.
He can jump to Zika, but
Oh, it's 2 ults
All right,
at
LNG,
least.
they're starting to turn up the heat here. Really, just pressing the gas on any time they have their ultimate abilities to force a lockdown. They do not hesitate.
And they have a pretty clear win con too. The Vi, Yone, Rumble combos later on. But you can really single out and melt a member of BLG down. Not a lot of ways to defend against that.
Now you come through and protect the jungle.
Keep this up. For me, eyes on Zika again. His
So they get that kill, but I don't think it really gets them anything so much. Because it costs them the ults as well. They can't be like super aggro to push forward, because the fight after that, actually, they probably don't win. Now a huge burst from Elise.
On the high challenge it is for Knight, but the rest of the cavalry from LNG are swarming in. Waves
bubbles going on. We saw the Rumble from Zika.
This Rumble ult hits no one because Elise just repels it.
That's a lot of tools burned by way. Flash
Yeah.
Knight. Goodbye, High Chow.
Good night indeed. Now, big shutdown on the high challenge it is for Knight, but the rest of the cavalry from LNG are swarming in. Waves got nowhere else to run. Bin throws down the hero's entrance, provides the knockup they need to at least trade one back onto Wei. Han trying to reposition for another cocoon, is in human form, does have that angle. Doesn't look like it's off cooldown quite yet. The rest of LNG, I mean, they're taking these
Okay,
and they're trading
so it's just a 2 for 1.
Yeah, a lot of flashes burned there from BLG just to get a 2 for 1. May not be bad for LNG in the long run if they can find a play.
No flash on Knight. They just go a little bit too aggressive on their own to get that first kill, and that then puts them in a slightly disadvantageous position, but they still actually win the fight.
Ways to get out of that one. So Equalizer, Fate Seal, get layered upon each other. Taking a look. High Chow being the cocoon from On.
Because there's no objective, so there's nothing to just take for him being chunked.
Try and play the way out. Again, a lot of tools burned. TP from
Now they're very, very deep, so it's quite hard to like follow up.
plays the choke right away. Able to find a little bit more. They set that one up, but
But they play just super aggro on the tower. While enemies taking Herald, they just leg it into the bottom side.
with the Spiderlings and the Grub buff. All those spiders that hit do benefit from grubs and that true damage tick you get on the turrets, and that attack speed buff, of course, massive too. So really big for this Elise pick.
And it's the one main advantage that BLG have got going for them, despite LNG, finding a lot of opportunistic picks onto scattered and isolated individuals. They have 6 scrubs, and anytime they get a chance to touch tower, it immediately falls. Now this chance,
Oof, they're trying to like time the Varus chains to be instant the second the Herald crashes in.
They have 6 scrubs, and anytime they get a chance to touch tower, it immediately falls.
Boom.
Now this
Oh,
chance-
he almost hits Photic as well.
Came out of the Rift Herald, but they still get a chance to knock him down to really low HP, but he manages to escape using that flash. BLG not
So
able to
while
beat
putting down the
six
Herald, like Bin just fogs so that he can ult across, but takes the top tower instead. So it's 3k gold lead already at 18 minutes. And 2 dragons to 1. Super one-sided. I mean, the thing is long, so I'm hoping there's some fight back. Feels like the lower teams in LPL struggle a lot more with macro and getting caught than lower teams in Tier and LCK. Yeah, I think the way they play is super different. I would say in general, I don't know enough this year. I would assume it's the same. But for the last few years, the bottom of the LPL, or like the average of the LPL, has been much better than the average of the LCK. But because of the way they play, it's a lot more obvious, and they're going to be a lot more snowballed on, because they don't like to just slow the game down if they're not being outscaled. If they're not outscaling. Morning, Agora. So if they're not outscaling, they will just fight you, and so they'll lose really quickly. And everything is faster, so I think you get caught. Like it just looks more extreme, right? Like if you're losing a game to Rogue or SK, it looks really slow. But even Vitality, for example, in the LEC, you're losing a game to them, it suddenly looks like you're worse. Because they're just quicker on everything and more like faster with the like snap engages. Like they're looking for all these things, always. The bottom teams in LPL do just kind of get beaten up on, but there's so many teams in the LPL.
So that would be a better map from them. Map 1 was far from promising. This map, we've seen some nice plays at LNG. I want to continue to see good plays out of Zeka, who's making a case for himself to play the game. If it were to be an LNG win with some of his plays early. I mean, the one death he had was a really nice setup from Wei.
Already 4K gold lead, and not even like, well, we've got dragons at least.
So good to see one of the remaining members of LNG, a team that did beat BLG the last 2 times they faced in the LPL regular season and at Worlds. Zeka being a big part of that. Good to see him performing here. As he's stepping up to the tall task in front of him and his team.
Rumble's very fed, but
Down 4,000 gold, but not down and out completely. And that dream.
and on both side lanes, like it should be good
One of the best teams that the LPL has ever produced. It could come
if you get the own matchup into Galio. So Galio wants to be matching the Rumble wherever possible.
individually construct for himself. Now the rest of BLG are trying to maintain control of this top river, but the third or fourth dragon of the game, I should say, is spawning in the next 20 seconds. So I'm curious to see how the teams are going to divvy up priorities here if they want to try and sneak someone on over and have the rest of people maintain control.
I don't think Azcan will go down without a fight, at least.
Wei might be in trouble. He's just going to force the engage. Immediately flash away. Wei with the present guard will block all of the rumble damage on
That Rumble
that has now been burned by the members of LNG.
versus in interaction is really annoying.
He's just going to, I think, hightail it back to whatever objective they want to prioritize, which looks to be the dragon. Mid priority being kept by
Okay, he can keep the tower safe always, and it is going to be another dragon.
No contest from LNG, so BLG
Partly for the chunk, but also partly because like no Rumble ult and stuff like that, and then also because they can't afford to leave the Atakan,
Could single-handedly
whereas BLG can put more people towards the bottom side of the map because they're further ahead.
decent amount of vision control on the top side of the map to protect themselves from any collapses, but this is where BLG get to set themselves up again and try and deny as much vision and information away from LNG's.
And again, they're always like pushing and poking and ready to go on you. Not poking necessarily with the damage. I mean, poking is in like poking their head into your jungle, and that's how like they can start to play like faster and faster and faster. And now they're going to push up mid and maybe just start the. I like that using the wall for Atakan. And it's just going to be all this like around the top side of the map. They're constantly putting down vision, resetting to make sure they get vision again because they've got their hex gates. And Xin is diving forward while Elise is completing her base. And they just bully through into the enemy jungle. And as they're doing that, Bin is moving away so that he can come up. Teleport comes, and I think Bin will probably they'll just back away. No, okay. If he was a split pushing champ, I think they just back away. Morning, Kurgan. I think they just back off, and then they don't TP. But here, instead, they're going to TP because the fight is okay. And then on again, waiting in these side bushes. The fact that these top lane bushes are now useful for an objective is like OP for the supports who love the flanks. Because On just instantly runs to play in the side, like this side lane bush, and he's just going to flash cocoon. Doesn't quite hit, but they still manage to just kill the rest of the fight. So they just instantly engage all together, and that comes from just playing together for a long time, playing with On a lot. Oh, it did hit. Oh, but the other guy, right, it doesn't hit Yone because Yone flashes it. And they get Atakan, and then they're going to get Baron. Because 2 people are still dead, they can get both.
I mean, my goodness, they get the Otacon practically for free off of that pick, and with the Baron, the pressure that LNG faces of losing more than what they actually want to gamble. Here's the replay.
I think it was a high chow flash, and then
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a tragedy, max range. But this is the thing, and this is the theory, but by like BLG exemplify. If you play on the front foot, stuff goes well for you more often than it goes badly. If you're the one like flashing and starting fights instantly, little things like that happen more because it's hard to play like backwards. It's harder than playing forwards. So they churn through the inhib. They've got the Atakan, so they can just rush. Atakan and Baron. Double combo.
Here. I mean, you might as well try to kill them anyway. They turn onto the left side. Q flash finds the target. There's the fake seal into the back line. Decent damage, but remember the voracious Otacon gives them the GA, so they're not actually that dead. They can come back with power TPs if they need it. BLG forcing everything out of LNG's hand, but they're just not getting enough done. Wei goes all the way in, but he's got Wei
is just mega. Okay, I'm gonna quickly go to the toilet, but we'll go into the next draft. Oh, we're already going to the next game apparently. So look, like at game 3, each draft looks really different. And it's because they're coming in with like a different strategy as well, which I really, really like. So this is the draft. I'll be back in like a minute.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. If this is a BLG 3-0, I think Elk On versus Lynx and Feather will be probably the biggest test that those two will have had for themselves. It will be a great opportunity to really push themselves. But obviously, we do have to, give credit and benefit of the doubt that, who knows? We could be in an alternate timeline where LNG reverse sweep BLG, and it just really throws everything into the mix. But, that would be some insane odds.
If that happens, I think that we will all lose our damn minds moving forward here. But,
yep.
Yeah, It's not what we expect, but never know exactly what's going to happen. That said, Nocturne can be first pick here for LNG. Potential Pantheon to answer coming out from BLG, and we'll see what happens with the Orianna pick. Of course, potential to deny that away from the Nocturne, Orianna Nocturne combo, always good. We'll see if BLG wants to take that one away and take that one for themselves, as Knight did start the day by winning his 1v1 against Haichao with the Orianna. We could end it by seeing nice Orianna, which
And I
is
love this
fantastic.
early snipe on the Xayah.
You do?
I think this cancels Nocturne. Like, Nocturne tries to fly to you and you Featherstorm, and there's not much you can do to follow up on it.
The tether can follow through if you're not fast enough. I don't like early Xayahs because I think that she's so vulnerable to range. And I would really like this Jinx comp, or Jinx pick into Xayah. I do really like Jinx into Xayah, especially because we are on the new patch. It's worth noting. Unitals did get buffed, and Jinx is really strong on this patch because of it. So Jinx might be a little bit higher priority, as the Hurricane also feels really nice on Jinx too. And Unital just gives you a better starting point. So, I mean, for me, I think Orianna makes a ton of sense here. Just add more zone control to the mix that Xayah has to deal with in terms of walking through walls. I'd love to see that, and frankly, kind of expect that instead of Akali. That said, I'm going to be disappointed. It's an Akali. That's a bummer.
As you said, you look great this game.
You're passionate enough on Ori Nocturne and the ability to like always threaten Xayah and her ability to walk up during fights to take the Akali. I don't like that trait. I do like Bin Jax. I don't think that anyone's seen that and not like that. So, guess what? By pointing Jax like that.
Oh, Bin Jax in Game 3 of Fearless, by the way.
Another
maybe a cannon ban.
That's a thing. Okay, so with different junglers gone, like with Xin gone, with Vi gone, with what was first game? Already forgotten. Nocturne priority, much higher. It's probably the it can be jungle Jarvan in LPL as well. Yeah, Viego and Zyra, thanks. So it's just first pick Nocturne into instant Zyra return. Again, not so useful without 4 different jungle bans. I mean, 3 different AD bans, not 4. And then also the 4 from the first 2 games. This time it's going to be the Azir. Like, I know we see Akali into Azir a lot, but it's also fine for both sides. Side lane is going to be better for Akali, and kill threat, of course, but push and teamfight is probably better for Azir. Okay, stopping a few dashes as well. I like this. Dash, dash, dash. Is it going to be... Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it can be... Like, here we're still holding the flex. It can be Pantheon support. And I don't think it can be support Poppy, just because I think that the lane could be too much. Yeah, so it's going to be jungle Pantheon. Yeah, LPL jungle Pantheon is more common, but either one. I think they're probably still flexing it till right at the end. If they get a good support matchup, they can put it support, but it can also go jungle as well.
He played in LPL playoffs, which they won. He is 0-6 and 12 on Bard in what was just a game that he was completely griefing into Alistar on Crisp in Weibo. He did not play well this game.
Oh no!
Not well. He was kind of running in there. He threw some bad ults.
Oh no!
It's going to be better this game because it couldn't be much worse than that one. I have more confidence in on that. Well, if you want thoughts about the Bard from that would be some historical data.
That's quite the heinous receipt to just whip out on him, man. I mean, that is.
Well,
I know you can't hear us, but I wish you could, so that you could defend yourself, bro.
He did not play the bigger roles, and he only played it one at a time in the entire last calendar year.
Okay, sorry, I was just looking at something for scrims.
And we're still technically in the winter season, so it's the perfect time to rock a parka, even though Summer's Rift looks more like Halloween than winter with the blood red color scheme.
Kennen would not have been bad here. Xayah would struggle a lot more the way.
Right, if you're watching, please bring
And the Jax matchup is fine.
They brought back Noxus map. It's winter map.
Yeah. Yeah, and any flanking champion is going to be buffed by having Nocturne in the game. So maybe a little bit tunneled on the fact that there's like a bunch of dashes. I mean, Poppy is a good person in the lane swaps and stuff like that, and Jinx is really good in the lane swaps. Does Bar Q work with a Azir wall once the wall stands its terrain, right? That's a good question. I think it does, but I don't know if it works on both sides or not. Let's pay attention to that as we go, because I don't know. So it's going to be the swap from BLG. Oops. Yeah, I would like the cannon, actually. It's a good call. We'll see what Zika can do on the Poppy. Poppy always super obnoxious, though, because like if you get a good ult, it doesn't matter how far behind you are. You can carry the fight. So with Jax E being up, they can't dive. So it's just going to be like push and prioritize the moving. I mean, Bin is jumping in. By the way, he burns Aftershock. Like, is that going to be back up for a potential dive? Probably.
this early game, and he's looking to posture for it.
Okay, so he's going to jump on them a couple of times, maybe look to base them back. I mean, a TP back. Pantheon's going top at the same time as Jack's going bot. Or the Duke. I think he just insta-dies if he doesn't get this, if he doesn't juke this. He might still die. He's just going too deep, doesn't know where Wei is. Yeah, with the red. Yeah, he's going to die. But his Duke gets the flash, because if that Q hits, it's... So the double range as well means a lot more harass under tower, although it's obviously harder for Bard to tank than it is for Alistar to tank. So now Zik is really low, he's probably going to base and maybe TP back, especially with Pantheon already having gone there. He knows he's not going to be there. So how is the lane swap happened? Right. Bin is just somehow 2 levels up and also a bunch of CS up, because he managed to pick up those waves a couple of times. So very, very good in that sense from the side of BLG. And it's just the kill in mid that like evens out the rest of the game. Now they do go top for the grubs, so it's just going to be the proper matchups, but teleport advantage, so they can use that to play for the grubs. Wei's not 6 though, Wei. Oof. Like the Alistar into Pantheon as well, by the way.
A nice portal from On. I know that we were joking about his bar, which he played to secure the LPL trophy. Game wasn't the best for him. That was a nice one there. Gets his team safety. And with that said, BLG doesn't feel like it.
But Bin like fully commits. Bin gets the crash in bot and then fully commits for the roam. So that's why they can't fight this even though they have their teleport advantage. And so instead, BLG are going to lose some stuff bot for it, because they don't have 6 as well. They're going to lose 2 and then just jump away with the portal. So it's going to be 2 for 1, but 2 plates and waves in bot. So Poppy's now caught back up completely. Hey, Carry West. I'm doing good. I'm trying today. I'm going to try a review because I love doing these reviews. But I'm also going to try having a break in between. So all the morning I was building a quiz for the patch and for Mel. So at 2:30, if anyone's around, that's when we'll start our quiz before going into the scrims. Because I think it's a good way to look at the new patch and look at the new champion changes and all that kind of thing. And then for scrims, I think we're going to do full fearless, but with Mel enabled every game, which we can change later on, but for now. And it's against Irons, which is really good for us because they're a very good team. And also they've been really good as a scrim partner. So.
I wasn't made of talk. It was a lot of others. Just conveying the smack that I heard talk, quite frankly. I agree. You brought it back up. I mean, if you saw that game, it should be brought back up.
I shot by Ben to use that demolish proc to get a nasty amount of gold through that first plate. Not quite enough damage to get the second plate down. I'm curious. Ben has not really revealed his whether this is going to be
so 3 o'clock scrim start, but half an hour before will be the patch preview and pre-scrim. I'll put the patch preview on YouTube as well, though.
It's not going to be the case, as you would want to start sacking that up as soon as possible.
And do like how he's playing for the grass procs there and pushing Poppy away. I mean, I think the next phase probably just gonna answer it for us. I'm okay with the early cloth armor. Keep in mind he was in a 2v1 scenario, right, with him being the 1, and against Poppy too.
Okay, so Nocturne 6 and Nocturne first ult's always big, but he's going to go straight onto Xayah. Like, oh wait, when did Xayah ult? I was talking, I missed that. Okay, so Xayah ult is down. So keeping track of these cooldowns is really important and very common in LPL. Yeah, it's 5 games scrims. 5 games, and Mel will be enabled for at least the first 3. Because neither of us think it's probably going to be like a B1. But if you're doing Fearless, we don't want to just play like 1 game of Mel. Yeah, so 5 clean wins. I'm not sure we've ever had 2 or 3 clean wins in a scrim set, even when we had 5 wins. Oh, I didn't see that. Agron's team won against the favourites of the Prime League. I've not had enough time to keep up with the RLs. I barely had enough time to keep up with Pro League. Who are the favourites in Prime League at the moment? So now it's going to be still Xayah ult down. She's just ulting for the damage. So they tried to save it. I think You need to bard ult sooner, but it's really hard because obviously you can't see.
Forcing paranoia on the Zaya on that timer, I think, was well played here by LNG.
LNG, I mean, they're finding a decent early game footing.
Okay.
Play once again.
KHK.
You can see how quick that feather storm coming off cooldown was not
Yeah, I mean, if we get to EMEA Masters, I'll be paying a lot more attention to other ERLs. But until that moment, for now, I'll keep
Starfall. Oh, okay. Hi, Chow, just giving him a
just up to date with what we've got.
second cast of perfect execution, but it does force his ultimate out, and that's a strong port of. Unfortunately for On, doesn't necessarily stop the recall. But Weiwei is
Damage goes, but the stun doesn't.
no danger there. 3 grubs for the second rotation that spawned once again because Hightail commits
So it is going to be a trade of grubs.
pressure that allows LNG to clean up a majority of these grubs unless Weiwei can sneak one of them.
They might get 4.
vision. We'll see. Maybe Knight just tries to throw a Q in there. No,
Yeah. So it's 4-2 on grubs.
True.
Much better start. 2-0 Nocturne.
Potential for that game 1.
So now Nocturne's just going to go again. Knight's got no flash, but he does get away.
It's getting dangerously close to soloing out Bin, but he still had a flash. He still had the Grandmaster's Might. Now Wei's here, and Zika is low on mana, low on HP. Keeper's Verdict at the ready if he needs it. Here comes the windup, and
Oof.
Wei's gonna accept it. That's an ultimate gone.
yeah, could have flashed over that one. Just gonna get with
I thought he was going to flash that or like,
Pantheon 2. Respond to the grubs as well.
you know, W at least.
Shown by way to not
Or try to, sorry.
line kill. Instead, just
I
gonna
think you should mostly try and hold Zyra up for safety this game.
make sure the goes over.
Yeah, not really how they play as people, but I think it's a good point.
Not necessarily a rare case in the LPL,
But when you're able to get a kill with it,
you gotta be careful, bro.
to think, oh, I'm going to definitely be punished is like a
What Joel was looking for, I guess he tried to get him.
very defensive mindset. So even though in that specific situation, obviously you'd much rather have it and have not used it, to do that in advance, I think you have to have quite a different like shift, and that's quite difficult, and also not necessarily the best.
Copy right now.
Because if you're thinking in that mindset, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities to play for kills, like as a whole team. So it's very hard, especially as a coach. You can't just point out the things that they're doing that are like, okay, this was wrong. We shouldn't have used this here. We shouldn't have used it here. We have to think about like how they're thinking and if we would want to change how they're actually thinking. I do agree though. Like it would be great if in this game you can mostly hold the Zyro, and in other games you can be really aggressive with it. You know, but it's
always so funny to watch you just struggle to compose yourself.
other than just play good.
He was expecting this town, he gets interrupted.
We have to have
He's not getting
okay
out alive at all.
a different kind of attitude to it.
So he's forced to pop the Featherstorm, and then, ooh, it's not enough damage for this Death Rocket, but it was close. And LNG, they're trying to slam that foot on the pedal. Wei comes in with the Grand Starfall, but I don't know what he was expecting to get because Wei is there to cover. Flash into the W, has no idea, but there's an Angry Cow walking towards him. So he's forced to pop the Featherstorm, and then, ooh, it's not enough damage from this Death Rocket, but it was close. And LNG, they're trying to slam that foot on the pedal. Wei comes in with the Grand Starfall, but I don't know what he was expecting to get because Wei is there to cover. Flash into the W to try and ferry himself.
I mean,
Damage reduction for the ulti, and L just can't do enough.
2 huge flanks from Alistar, like getting into that pit, firstly to get the pick on Bard, and then just instantly looping around again. And so the second they defend the tower, you can just dive with your ult. Really nice. Just gets a nice angle, and then obviously they combo it well. Then with the excited, you just chunk down again. You force the ult, gets the barrier, and then Alistar around with the dive. Oh no!
I think Vin was trying to anticipate the keeper's verdict and flash over it, but I don't know if it was just a little delayed. But Wei steps aside it, maybe has one more Q in the
Ooh.
Sidesteps it.
Zeka plays that insanely well.
To look for the punish on the Vin. Grandmaster's Pipe. It's just popped a little too late, I fear. My goodness. Tempered Fate is going to force a flash of a High Chow. But man, oh man, BLG, they haven't gotten a single solid play for themselves on the map yet.
Oh, heads up. L could be in trouble if he shows this head flash and Featherstorm. So yeah, paranoia.
Oh, okay. I think maybe they missed time that for the storm, but they're still going to get the kill. I thought it was going to be down. I think it literally comes up now.
Oh, heads up. L could be in trouble if he shows this head flash and Featherstorm. So yeah, paranoia.
But they get Featherstorm and Flash. Is it just me or fully grown Bard heals way too small in this current meta? Yeah, I mean, mostly you just, to be honest, after the lane, you're mostly using it for the speed boost, right? As far as I'm aware, it seems like that. So they're TPing behind Zika. It's taking them a lot. But they're losing Herald already, so they get something for it. And they're going to get the tower.
Especially if we just know the pedigree of BLG, but they're going to continue pressing forward. Fodek force the flash, slowed by the cosmic binding. They turn their eyes on his get his flash as well. And now Fodek's in trouble. No flash to dodge.
The Bard Pantheon like pick is really cool as well, like the amount of pick that you get. But they're going to get Rift Herald. They're actually going to trade Rift Herald for 2 towers though. So it's 2 for 1 on towers and also Herald, despite the fact that they had less grubs. So BLG, they're just so fast. Like both teams, like they just play. They take these opportunities so instantly, and they just all together.
I will say that the last 2 plays kind of looks like the older brother of BLG.
Yeah, it's just like level 1, 2, 3. You drop the heals for like, if I fuck up a trade, I get to heal. Yeah. I think it's good that they're not a big part of his kit.
barely standing.
like his playstyle.
LNG overextending for that one, not respecting.
He's already got all this other stuff to play with. He doesn't need proper heals.
They're still the ones dictating the pace off the back of that paranoia, using that to cheat their own tempo. And this
You could maybe nerf the heal, but when it grows,
Goal advantage for the side of LNG.
buff that.
You know, strangely enough, BLG were the ones that got first break off the table and, you know, took out 2 towers despite not having majority of the grubs. You know, you would expect that LNG should be able to do a lot more.
But I like Bard because you just have to be so skillful to play Bard in competitive.
We talked about this entire series. What makes BLG so terrifying about
And it can look so useless.
positioning to, as soon as getting 1 kill off the board, their ability to transition that into a sizable objective advantage. And whereas LNG, they've been getting a lot of kills, but not really that much to combo off of it.
So it's still closer than all the other games, but this time LNG with the lead.
one where, speaking of combos and some of the pressure, first they win, you can drive home quite literally. As currently, no objectives on the map, side Otacom did spawn top side. It's voracious, you know, it's a pro game. We all know what
I
it is.
think late game it's going to be obviously quite difficult for LNG. They will be able to have pressure in the side lane if they get the right matchup, but Jax should be obnoxious to deal with later on.
Like how his flash is coming off cooldown, so
Xayah with the ult is such a good counter to what they want to do.
between the ult, I think going the wrong way there, but some credit over to the other side.
Jinx, of course, with 3 items does a huge amount of damage, but
2 minutes on the next dragon here map, and BLG have already picked up 2 of their names, so if they're able to easily secure
much harder to actually do that damage in practice.
real tanks on this BLG corner, but it is Mountain Soul. Knight might be in trouble, but he's got on support him out safely. I imagine that if BLG, if they secure
Alistar almost interrupts that.
it makes it so much more tough, or it's so much tougher for LNG to successfully assassinate the threats on BLG.
Well, Bard looks super useless if you play it, or
Resistance is on top of it, so they're trying to pull the trigger here. I imagine that if
I think the value on Bard, when you get it, it's very obvious. It's like the double stuns and team fights and stuff.
Mountain Soul and the added
So teleport in.
So they're trying to pull the trigger here. Paranoia and the Featherstorm answer blow for blow, but L might be
Whoa.
able to block, but it's a great collapse from Zika. Still looking for the turnaround and the follow-up, but when he turns around with the collapse,
Oh.
the counterattack is too great.
Okay. Like, I mean, BLG are very good.
Soul, Knight might be in trouble, but he's got on here to escort him out.
So it's a really nice flank from Zika, and they just trade tools. Like they trade ult for ult.
Assassinate the threats on BLG.
Teleport's already coming down because they already want to play like hard on this wave. Because Photic's got no flash.
And the added resistance is on top of it.
So they threaten him, which then gets the paranoia. Then the Poppy comes in, but Knight comes in,
Still looking for the turnaround and the follow-up, but when he turns around with the collapse of his
gets the no flash AD carry,
LNG to overcome, and the rest of BLG's strength rises in numbers. LNG just got
and then they're just all there first.
I gotta see a replay on that one because the start of the fight looked pretty
That's
good.
so decisive.
They found a really nice combo onto Elk. The engage from Zika was big, but the follow-up just wasn't there. Jinx got taken out by Knight on a bit of tank.
And that's going to be Atakan.
That dominated the fight, and I gotta say, next objective take it will be featured.
So they just say, right, we give up top, we just play hard on mid. And it's because like AD carry has no flash, and so they just play so differently. And now suddenly like this little wave becomes an objective to play for, and they're already teleporting for this. They're already giving up something top to teleport to play on this wave because enemy has no flash.
Take another look. There's a TP from Knight. The Grand Sparkle was
And then they're there for the counter engage, but they would make it happen if not.
in that. Zika, the flash, the engage.
I think at this stage, Poppy's thinking we're winning this. So he doesn't want to knock people away. He just wants to chain the CC. But because Knight goes in so aggressively, kills and also does a bunch of damage and stops Jinx from doing any more damage to Elk. Elk didn't even flash in the end. So yeah, again, in hindsight, I would say 100% you Poppy ult away, but I'm pretty sure you come in there, you get the stun on the enemy AD carry, and you think we're winning this. Now BLG have 3 dragons, and they've got the lead.
And with the icon now, we've seen how aggressively BLG has played this in the past 3 maps. Using it at the moment, the siege bot playing it inner turret. They do not have grub advantage for the first time in the series, so these turrets will stand a little bit longer, but they've still corralled LNG and forced them to defend this bot inner turret.
And you just know they're looking for this dive with the buff.
So BLG taking the pace of the game, and LNG have to dance with BLG soon.
Now it comes in, as Bin is going like super aggro. Bin dies on the side, and the knockaway is big. So they get the tower. But I think that's good. I think that's as best as you can get, really, from LNG. You get 2 of the false lives.
Also stepped on, pushed back to spawn to the global buffs too by 5 minutes.
Both Akali and Jinx had flash as well.
Everyone blue buff or red buff, so like the fact that
In that first fight, in the fight around mid lane, Jinx didn't have flash. That's why they went for it, I think. It was coming up, but it wasn't actually up.
Yeah, it's it does delay things a lot, but
Yeah.
I mean, as a jungler, hang on.
Okay.
Top quadrant, Zika.
Zika is very tanky, but he just can't get any support here. So they try and go for on, but they get pushed out of mid. Way pushes around that way.
Hang on. He's engaging top quadrant, Zika in trouble. Teleport coming in.
And the teleport comes in so that they can't extend the fight as well.
For the taking. BLG have numbers. And they might deal with the waves first before attempting to threaten it. There is a ward from
I think they just push and they go Baron. No?
for now. So BLG is going to be happy with the pick.
Did they lose this game?
Curious how BLG snowballs the game from here, though. They have reclaimed their gold lead. And, okay, they're just going to hit Baron. I can't see them sticking this. On's also a mile away. And for
Okay.
whatever reason, doesn't have flash available.
Paranoia.
Oh, wait, no.
Lights are turned off. Waste that
Knight goes quite deep, but
Good lock at timing. Tempered fake. He
oof.
sidesteps. Comes in. Now he's looking for Wei Wei. The rest of the
Sticking this.
Okay, I mean, like this Bard ult is so
Wei steps up. Jewel pops the ultimate. Tries to reduce as much damage as he can. But he's
okay.
Good lock at timing. Tempered fake. He sidesteps it, but Knight
Bard ult hits the Jinx, who has both summoners, but now by this point it's going to be
The rest of the backline from LNG
okay.
comes zoned off. Zika.
Does cleanse, but
Forward, and the Shield of Soul just completely
they just
demolishes
kill them all.
Front line and back line in one swift strike. BLG.
They're just so instantly decisive.
It's just not in today's history books. BLG are the dominant.
Okay, I thought this series was going to go long. I saw that there's like 8 hours of stream, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to look at the result, but I'll know it's long. It's still good to see. Good to see BLG being really decisive, really dominant. First 2 games they got a lead and they're just so fast on the punish and they're so fast and on the plays, and they go like deeper than we tend to go in LEC. Like they're always pushing deeper into stuff, into the jungle, deeper, like quicker route, all those kind of things. And then okay, it was just the next game. But at the beginning, I thought it was only saying there's one. And of course, there's the 1v1 stuff at the beginning. Okay, well, short little review. Well, short hour and a bit. Can you cleanse the Bard art? I don't think you can. Why do I not know that? I'm gonna literally just Google it. No. It can be spell shielded but not cleansed. Yeah, I don't think you can cleanse the stasis. That's the thing, because it's like a neutral effect, or coded as if it's a neutral effect. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I did actually have to check. So I mean, BLG looks so good and so dominant. Right, well, that's it for the review. So thanks for checking it out. As I said at the beginning, I am going to be turning off the stream now. We're coming back at 2:30. We're going to do a quiz for Mel and for the new patch, and then we're going to go into scrims against Ainz, which will be 5 games fearless, but it will also have Mel in at least the first 3 games, and then we'll decide again after that, because we don't want to be in a situation where a new champ comes out and one team gets to play it once, and then it's just gone because it's fearless. But I don't think it's actually particularly like B1 pickable, so I want to work out if we're going to need to ban it for next week. So